President Kiir condemns barbaric killings of the South Sudanese nationals by Sudanese armed forces and calls for calm in the country. National Elections Commission convenes consultative discussions on electoral process ahead of 2026 polls. And Governor Jadala urges Mandara youth to chant cattle raiding to foster peace and development in the area. Hello, good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Ssbc with me, Mathiang Joseph. We begin our news tonight at the Presidential Palace, where President Salva Kiir Mayardit has strongly condemned what he described as barbaric and inhuman killings of the South Sudanese nationals in Sudan's Wad Medani by the Sudanese armed forces after retaking the area from the Rapid Support Forces. In a sharp statement, President Kiir described the humiliating killings as act of terrorism and extermination. Speaking during a national address, President Kiir demanded that Sudanese authorities ensure the protection of the South Sudanese nationals trapped in war zones under their control, appealing for calm across the country and call for an end to retaliatory actions. Additionally, the President directed the Chief of Defense Forces to ensure that no individuals takes the law into their own hands, stressing the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the country.
Dear fellow citizens, I feel your pain and disdain at the atrocities against our fellow citizens in Sudan, and particularly what is taking place in Al Jazeera, Wad Medani. These inhuman, barbaric killings of innocent South Sudanese civilians allegedly committed by the Sudanese armed forces ignite difficult, sad, and emotional memories. These heinous acts are unacceptable and are truly comparable to terrorism in character. It is a known fact that South Sudanese still consider Sudan as home. Likewise, many Sudanese citizens see South as home for them. This is due to our shared history. Therefore, the government of Sudan is obliged to protect South Sudanese citizens trapped in war zones under its control. Fellow citizens, since learning of these atrocities, I have instructed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to engage the Sudanese embassy in Juba for explanation. Demands for immediate and thorough investigation into the killing of defenseless civilians, participation of international human rights organizations to ensure transparency in such investigation, and for the Sudanese government to ensure those who are found guilty of these atrocities are held accountable. I therefore urge all South Sudanese citizens to remain calm and refrain from retaliation. It is crucial that we do not allow anger and emotions to cloud our judgment and turn against Sudanese brothers and sisters. Let us protect their properties and businesses. We are hospitable people. It is our duty to offer protection and support to Sudanese refugees who fled the war in Sudan. Let them find comfort with you or around you. Let us trust in the process of peace and dialogue to resolve this crisis rather than citizens taking matters into their own hands. Fellow citizens, I hereby direct the Chief of Defense Forces, the Inspector General of Police, the Director Generals of the National Security Service to ensure no one takes law into his own hand. Ensure protection of all Sudanese citizens within the territory of the Republic of South Sudan. I further direct all the organized forces not on duty to report to their units and barracks for further directives. May God grant the souls of our departed brothers and sisters eternal peace, and may the people of South Sudan find comfort in the knowledge that we stand together in solidarity, seeking prompt and just action. Sincerely yours, Ssbc, President of the Republic of South Sudan.
Immediately after concluding his national address, President Salva Kiir Mayardit called on the South Sudanese people angered by the terrorist-like killings of their compatriots in Sudan to remain calm and allow the authorities of both nations to work towards resolving the matter, stressing that their lives lost should not go without justice and accountability. The head of the state instructed security forces to continue restoring law and order in the country while safeguarding Sudanese businesses in Juba City and beyond. This comes as demonstrations in numerous parts of the capital Juba have been contained by joint security forces. During a briefing, Inspector General of Police General Habra Manyuat reassured the president that security forces are actively maintaining peace and across the city.
سعادة رئيس جمهورية جنوب السودان عن الحالة الأمنية. الحالة الأمنية مطمئن والشرطة والقوات النظامية مسيطرة على الموقف. الحاصل أنه يعني الصور اللي كان بثت في جمهورية السودان والحصلت في المدني خلى الشباب الصغار ديل يكونوا زعلانين. فنحن قمنا بخطة بتأمين أول حاجة للسفارة السودانية وعملناه تأمين شامل وهم مبسوطين بالتأمين اللي عملناه. زرناه مرتين، أنا شخصيا مشيت له مرتين. في المسا حصل تطور تاني هو أنا عاوز أقول أنه إذا كان الحالة اللي حصل في السودان ده مدان دوليا نحن ما نبقى زي التصرف اللي عملوه الناس في السودان. نحن نكون على مستوى بتاع مسؤولية ومستوى بتاع الدولة. نحن بنحترم حياة الزول وبنحترم حقوق الإنسان وبنحترم حياة الفرد، لأن نحن مسؤولين بأرواح بتاع الناس كله. يعني القانون بتاعنا ما بقول أنه نحن مسؤولين من أرواح بتاع الجنوبين، لا، نحن مسؤولين بأرواح بتاع أي زول، أي إنسان هو من أي دولة، وهو is a human being. We are capable, we are mandated عشان نحن نحمي الحياة بتاعهم.
Now reverting our attention to Juba City's mood, tensions have reduced and calm has returned across the country after the South Sudanese, angered by the brutal killing of unarmed compatriots in Sudan's Al Jazeera region, orchestrated peaceful demonstrations or protests rather last night near Sudanese-owned shops, prompting business closures across Juba and evidenced by the high Sora economic standoff. Organized forces quickly intervened, safeguarding Sudanese merchants and their property from peaceful South Sudanese protesters who expressed frustration over the manner in which their compatriots were killed. They demanded justice for the victims of the Sudanese army brutality, whom they accused of connection with the Rapid Support Forces after retaking Wad Medani from them. Ssbc's Habrama Ken reports.
Ithora, known for its vibrant nightlife, was disrupted by peaceful protest demanding justice for the murdered South Sudanese in Sudan. The disturbing reports of execution and beheadings reflected a deviation from humanity and African brotherhood, replaced by acts of extermination. Sudanese businesses closed early on Thursday in the residential areas like New Side, Miausaba, Malikia, Tongping, and Gudele, fearing attacks at social media. Agitation fueled tensions of revenge, disrupting business activities.
زي ما شايفين الشارع شغال وكل الناس قاعدين، ودليل على كده انا متواجد في الشارع هسه. كل الناس بخير، ونتمنى انه نعبر تعبير سلمي للحصل والعداله تاخذ مجراها ونقتص بالحصل لنا في
Security forces swiftly contained the situation, evacuating Sudanese traders to safer locations and restoring calm.
مية بيرضوا انه يعملوا حاجه كعب للاجنبي كويس. فالحصل حاليا في قبل شويه دخل خوف في الناس، وحفاظا على برضه انه الوضع ممكن ينفلت، لانه المشاكل اللي بيبداوا زول واحد وممكن يمشي يدعوق فوق زول يحصل هذا كعب. وانتوا شفتوا براكم في هنا الناس اللي بيكونوا معاكم اكثر حاجه المواطنين منه الحكومه جا، والحكومه ما سمح لاي زول يمد يده ولا زول يمد يده على دكان زول ولا اي حاجه بتاع زول. لكن كل محلات الاشغال بتاعتكم هسه حاليا قاعده في الحبس.
While many residents condemned violence and expressed hospitality towards Sudanese nationals, others stood in solidarity, urging Juba and Khartoum to address the issue to quell tensions.
أنا بقول طبعا يا أخوانا لما نعمل لك يعني مشكلة أو دول المواجهة بطال أنت ما تروح بواجهة بطال لأن ولا بارد نحن كغضو في الأمم المتحدة أنا كلام على السودان نحن ما نبغى الزيم الشعب السودان الموجود في جنوب السودان يا أخوانا لأن نحن شعب جنوبي وشعب شمال السودان شعب واحد في شنو في كونتينر واحد نحن كأسرة واحد.
In response to South Sudan's demands, Sudanese authorities launched an investigation into the killings, a move welcomed by Sudanese nationals in Juba, who appreciated the protection offered to them by the South Sudan's government.
Yes, I've been here. Some people are calling me that they are targeting people, but right now I'm safe, alhamdulillah. I'm telling you, just right now, until all these things cleared up, just everybody keep himself in home, and these things, I don't think what happened, what's really happened, I don't think it represented the South Sudanese nation actually.
Abraham Aken, Ssbc News.
Thank you, Abraham Aken, for that report. Moving on, following a period of calm and reduced tensions after last night's protests near Sudanese-owned shops in Juba, triggered by the gruesome killing of an armed, specified number of the South Sudanese nationals in Medeni, Sudan, by the Sudanese soldiers. The police have issued a warning against looting and other illegal activities that threatened the safety of the people and property during these peaceful protests. The Inspector General of Police, General Abraham Anyuat Peter, and the SSPDF spokesperson, Major General Lulroy, have assured the public of their commitment to maintaining nationwide safety and protecting Sudanese nationals residing in the country.
We now make another plan because there are people who are instigating these people because it is not only the issue of Sudan. Maybe there are people who want to have their own agenda to push this boy to make havoc in the town. Of course, they want to benefit from the economic situation where we are in, to be seen like that the issue is looting. Concerning the attack of Sudanese, it was those who are in this small market. About 4 people were injured. Even Southern Sudanese were injured. Only one person was taken to the hospital. We have the same issue in Warab, in Kwajok, and we have the same issue in Awil. But in Awil, it is a small scale. What I want to say here, I want to assure our citizens that the police and the rest of the organized forces they are controlling the situation. And we are going to continue monitoring the situation until we bring it down. We will continue also protecting strategic areas, banks and bridges. Also, we are going to protect the markets, the big markets, and also we are going to give a protection to Sudanese who were put in fear. We assure them that we will protect them. The mandate of the police or the state in general is to protect the life of the people, whether they are from Sudan or from Uganda or from anywhere. The mandate of the police is to protect the life of people.
I've come to announce to all members of the organized forces orders that were issued this morning at the ICT that all members of the organized forces who might be loitering in different residential areas within Juba are hereby ordered to report to their respective units. Any member from the organized forces who will be found is still loitering after this announcement or committing acts that are against the law will be arrested, and all measures, administrative and punitive measures, will be taken against that serviceman or woman. In response to what was happening, the organized forces, the joint security forces, were immediately deployed all over Juba with specific concentration and massing of forces in hotspot areas such as Mangatane, New Side, Jabal, Sharkat, and others to ensure that nothing against the law is committed in terms of looting of properties, in terms of targeting individuals. We are waiting at Police General Headquarters, where the heads of organized forces have been monitoring the situation from yesterday.
Away from that, the African Union assured its full support to the nation's political transition process. This came following a meeting between the first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar Teny and the delegation from the African Union High-Level Committee C5. The meeting had discussed implementation of the peace agreement. Speaking to Ssbc, the African Union Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security Department, Ambassador Bankole, says the Commission remains committed to supporting the South Sudan's quest for peace and stability ahead of 2026 general elections at the conclusion of the transitional period.
It is important to ensure that you all know that the African Union remains fully committed to the transition to democratic rule in South Sudan. All the issues have been discussed, the critical tasks that need to be accomplished before the 2026 December elections and the transition in February 2027. Be reassured that the Committee of Five, which will also be meeting at summit level during February 2025 in Addis Ababa, remains fully committed and resolute towards the stability, the peace, and the progress of South Sudan.
Coming up, South Sudan has renewed its call for the lifting of the arms embargo imposed on the country to foster peace efforts. We are going for a break. Stay tuned for more stories coming up. Welcome back and thank you for tuning in. South Sudan renews its call for the lifting of the arms embargo imposed on the country to foster peace efforts. The call follows a meeting between the Minister of Presidential Affairs, Ambassador Joel Maud, and the African Union's high-level committee known as C5, which includes South Africa, Algeria, Chad, Nigeria, and Rwanda, responsible for supporting nations' peace process by engaging peace partners in ongoing peace efforts. Additionally, the country's Foreign Affairs Minister Ramadan Mohamed Goy called for the removal of the arms embargo and sanctions against South Sudanese officials to expedite the implementation of security arrangements. South African Minister Ronald Lamola reiterated the African Union's commitment to achieving lasting peace in South Sudan.
The purpose of our visit has been to obtain first-hand knowledge on the status of the implementation of the revitalized agreement and assess the support that is required. In addition, we also delivered a message of solidarity and support to the people and the government of South Sudan and reaffirmed the continued commitment of the AU to accompany the transition process in the country to its end. We had a productive meeting yesterday with His Excellency, the First Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar, a meeting with the African ambassadors based here in Juba, representatives of IGAD, REGMIC, and UNMISS. During these meetings, views were provided with concrete proposals on how we can assist the transition period to address some of the challenges in the implementation of the revitalized agreement for the resolution of the conflict in South Sudan. We just had also an opportunity to meet His Excellency President Salva Kiir and all the ministers who also represented him in our meeting and engage on some key of the issues pertaining to the revitalized agreement. We will brief our presidents about our visit here in Juba and present concrete proposals aimed at supporting the transition that will pave the way towards free, fair, and democratic elections in this peaceful, in this beautiful country, so that there is a democratic and peaceful end to the transition period.
And we are very happy that they will say they are very ready to continue supporting the Republic of South Sudan in implementation of peace agreement, and they also declared it that they will work very hard with the government of South Sudan to support our call for arms embargo that was wrongly imposed on the Republic of South Sudan to be lifted. And also there are a number of targeted sanctions that were imposed on our country. They will say they will work very hard with the government of South Sudan for these targeted sanctions also to be lifted. We are very happy the government of South Sudan that we have our brothers, the Africans, supporting us in our call for this sanction to be lifted on South Sudan. And why we are calling for that? Because it's also part of the implementation of peace agreement, especially Chapter 2, that we need to unify all the groups who signed peace agreement with the government, and to unify all these armed groups, we need arms embargo actually to be lifted on South Sudan. So our national army, the Ministry of Defense, and other organized force, they will be able to organize our forces, and they will be able to acquire arms so that they can really implement peace agreement. With that, if the arms embargo is not lifted on our country.
The Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Palma Ding, and the Norwegian People's Aid Country Director, Anis, discussed addressing flood crisis in Unity State. In a statement to Ssbc after the meeting, Minister Pal says the meeting discusses water resources management and irrigation for agriculture, among other areas. The minister says they agreed to engage partners to finding a solution for addressing the flood water in Unity State. The Norwegian People's Aid Country Director, Henrik, reiterated commitment to supporting South Sudan's water sector.
We try to question how the problem of Unity State, the problem of water that has been there for years, can be addressed. We ask ourselves a question: is this water going to stay? If it's going to stay, what needs to be done? And if this water goes away in anticipation of drought, what also need to be done? In this discussion, we have not come with formidable solution as to what need to be done, but we have recognized the need to keep this engagement and conversation with the government senior official, with development partners and donor community, so that we can try to find a solution.
It's important for us to always work hand in hand with the relevant line ministries when there are issues that we are engaged in. And we've had a very, very good discussion, seeing how NPA can use our influence to assist the agenda that the minister has to try and find solutions to both the flooding, but also to using irrigation in agriculture and some areas of South Sudan that are actually experiencing drought.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Akola-Tak, and the International Committee of the Red Cross, head of mission to South Sudan, Florence, discussed deepening humanitarian collaborations amid influx of the returnees and refugees fleeing the war in Sudan. Speaking to Ssbc after the meeting, Minister Cole stressed that they explored ICRC's activities. For her part, the ICRC head of mission, Florence, reaffirms her organization's commitment to rendering humanitarian assistance amid increasingly waterborne diseases and cholera among the population. According to the minister, South Sudan registers about 2 million people, both returnees and refugees from Sudan, needing an urgent relief support.
In her briefing, it was quite clear that they really exerted a lot of efforts to support the vulnerable people as a result of conflict in Sudan, those who returned to South Sudan. They covered a lot of areas, almost South Sudan, in terms of supporting all these vulnerable people. Although it was a challenging year, 2024, but they covered a lot. This year, 2025, they have also ambitions, plan to cover more areas. And we have actually exchanged that concerns about the increasing of vulnerability in South Sudan as new people are still arriving. Now we have registered almost 1 million people who have crossed to South Sudan, and people are still coming. We have reviewed the situation in the entry points, transit site, and the process of them to go to their final destination with what they need.
The impact of the Sudan conflict on South Sudan, including the massive new arrivals in rank, and the response of the International Committee of the Red Cross and the South Sudan Red Cross, as well as the situation on cholera that's affecting people throughout.
The National Elections Commission convened with the civil society and faith-based organizations as well as media and the academia to discussing electoral processes and challenges ahead of 2026 general elections. Ssbc's Martin Justin reports.
The representatives from civil society organizations and line partners to National Election Commission calls upon the Commission to present release time frame process scheduling. Speaking to Ssbc, Musa Manas Jambu, the head of Political Science Department at the School of Social and Economic Studies, University of Juba, affirms the academia key role to educating and sensitizing people understand elections.
As an academia also, will be also engaged in generating more knowledge that will actually advocate for the diversity of thoughts. When we say diversity of the thoughts, we mean that will be advocating for the knowledge that will actually recognize the democratic values, of which democratic values, this is the cornerstone of each and every free society, and it is the kind of the society that we want to have in our country.
Agustino Wudu Ilario, the chairperson of the Union of People with Disabilities, urged those in charge of elections to take into account inclusivity of disabled for voting.
There is a need for civic education. Those people need to be aware. And also, as people with disabilities, we need some measures to be put in place, like the polling stations and also the material to be produced in braille.
During the meeting, National Election Commission Deputy Chairperson Gabriel Deng pointed out inclusiveness as the Commission's model during the electoral stages.
The presence of civil society is paramount. That's why it is very important to acquaint yourself of observer, media, representative agent, and special interests.
The chairperson of the National Election Commission, Professor Abednego Akok Kachwal, appeals to the stakeholders to continue interacting with the Commission for the success of the upcoming election process.
A platform for us to bring the stakeholders together. Whatever we know as a commission, we must inform you, the stakeholders, say that you are aware, and you have the role to play here. We must promote culture of democracy. The other word is tolerance. The other word is tolerance.
It's worth mentioning that all the speakers in the meeting have agreed on the need to hold the 2026 general elections in time to answer the concerns of the postponed periods. Martin Justin Paul Kose, SSBC, Juba.
The governor of the Bank of South Sudan, Johnny Hoesa, convened a key meeting with the members of licensed forex bureaus, urging them to expand their trading methods beyond hard currency and embracing innovations that align with the evolving market trends. The meeting, attended by First Deputy Governor Samuel Yeni Costa and other Director General, addresses the challenges facing the Forex Bureau and other financial institutions, including increasing encroachment of unlicensed market dealers in the country.
The governor, the central bank, met with representatives of Forex Bureau to discuss some challenges facing them, and the meeting came up with some proposals that will improve the performance of the Forex Bank. We look forward to resolve these issues so that we help stabilize the market.
We came to the central bank to talk about the issues that are affecting the Forex Bureau operation in South Sudan. And we had a fruitful meeting with the governor of the central bank. We highlight some few key issues that to be addressed, and the meeting went very well. And central bank is most welcoming the ideas of the Forex Union and the Forex operators in South Sudan. So we went into to talk about the challenges that we are facing as a Forex Bureau. And those challenges are being addressed by the governor himself and the team, the two departments, Department of Supervision and Financial Marketing. We talk about the arrears that are pending to be paid. The meeting, the governor gave us good answers for those, and we are happy and thanks.
Governor Agustilo Jadala Wani of Central Equatorial State urges youth in Mandari land to chant cattle raiding to foster development and reconciliation in the region. Governor Jadala was addressing a public rally in Tombe Payam of Terekeka County, calling on the community to live in peace and harmony with their neighbors. The Commissioner of Terekeka County, George Wani Elia, appeals for provision of medical equipment to primary health care centers to boosting medical services in the region. The chairperson of the Mandari Community, General Clement Wani Konga, directs Mandari people to refrain from all forms of harmful practices such as tribal marks.
Nina derintum taish haya kwais. Intum nasa tombe hina. Intu ya muftah fita salam le wilaya fita Central Equatoria. Wana der intum taishu haya selim majiran. Kandena se bor wala na se aweria wala na se yoro. Der haya fita salam. Anihina fi Central Equatoria. Nihina wilaya الكرسي في الدولة بتاعنا بتاع جنوب السودان في ولاية بتاعتنا ولو هنا يا ناس host community لجنوب السودان دير وحدة بتاعنا قوي لأنه وحدة بتاعتنا بسجع وحدة بتاع جنوب السودان كله
كلام بتاع أمني أنا دير نقول إنه تركيكا كاونتي ده تركيكا الوحيد أمني بتاعه كويس في كاونتيز بتاع سنترال إيكواتوريا كله أدوية الهاسا قاعدين يجيبوا في مستشفى بتاع تركيكا ما بقدر بخطي 10 بيامات بتاع تركيكا كاونتي لأنه عدد بتاع سكان بتاع تركيكا زادوا كتير. حاجة الأخير أنا داير كده تاكم مينتين سلام الموجود في النص بتاعكم. كان في مشكلة ناس ما يشيلوا قانون في الدين بتاعهم. جيبوا تقرير لحكومة بتاعكم، حكومة بتاعكم من بيانوا كيف من بيحل مشاكل بتاعكم.
تعليمات وانا لو عايزة haja bugulu tala zulunde maafi haja tala zulunde maafi David Majalis wadawanga adengra luane wisai moka moya galganda juma jena tawa wali kelemen agela zulundo am to godal gena ngoda de mamnu minalela de karanta gaib de gabila da mundare.
We now move to Warap, where Governor Francis Mariala Bora has called on twin communities to promote reconciliation and support efforts aimed at promoting stability in the country. Speaking at a public rally in Akop Payam in Toi North County, he urges residents to denounce violence and work towards social cohesion in the region. Governor Abur, who also visited Liek Payam, donated a water yacht, 6 boreholes, and 2 motorcycles to the Kongor community, praising the community for peace efforts, encouraging them to continue fostering unity with their neighbors. Over 90 flood-affected homes have received relief aid in Wanbai area of Juriva County of Western Baragazal Estate. The relief supply donated by the Office of the President through Kamsur National Company is part of government's responses to addressing the plight of the flood-affected persons in the country. Ssbc's John Cliff Ochaya reports.
Addressing the distribution of humanitarian aid, the Deputy Chairperson of Torkweng Constituency in the State Legislative Assembly, Anyara Nyardor, compliments President Kiir Mayardit for his direct support to the affected families through the Kamsur National Company. He describes the operation as the reflection of the government's kind and passionate concern for public welfare, especially in difficult circumstances.
General Salva-Kiir Mayardit الوفد لنا الشركة عشان يجي يشوف مواطنين بتاعت المنطقة
دربان بجد نحن سعيدين بزيارة وكريس أنا بنشكرك قالوا من رأى ما زي من سمع الحمد لله أنت جيت وشفت بعينك حجم بتاع الضرر بتاع الفيضانات الحاصل في المنطقة ده.
Good River County Relief and Rehabilitation Commission Coordinator Gabriel Longar confirms Wanbai is one of the areas floods have hit hard. He appeals for concerted efforts to satisfy the humanitarian needs of the victims in the region.
It is the first time since the crisis in Wanbai Payam. We have a lot of challenges. The community are suffering. There are IDPs in Wanbai Payam, and there is the host community. And the IDPs are integrated with the host community in Greater Wanbai. So those people, simply, during the rainy season, they were being affected by the flood.
The executive director of Wanbai area, Lena Bol, appeals to humanitarian actors and people of goodwill to provide more humanitarian assistance and ask for intensified efforts towards alleviating human suffering in the affected families.
What I would like to say, I want to give much appreciation to companies that bring the little thing.
شكاوي كالأماكن زراعة دمرت ودما حيكون آخر جاي بتاعنا هنا الليلة نينا هنجيكم.
Some of the beneficiaries expressed their joy and thanks to President Kiir and Kamsur National Company for the well-timed initiative that will significantly alleviate their suffering. Reports indicate that flood-affected households in Tonj South County of Warabi State are engaging with the national company to start distributing relief assistance in the county within the coming days. Clive John Oshaya, Ssbc, Wanbai Payam, Good River.
Construction of Malakal Akoka Road is progressing well. The Deputy Governor of Upper Nile State, Deng Jo Angok, inspected the road being implemented by the United Nations Mission in South Sudan, UNMISS. SSBC's Mario Solomon reports.
The Deputy Governor of Upper Nile State, Deng Jo Angok, stressed the importance of roads in connecting the different parts and safeguarding security and service delivery across the states. He raised the point on an inspections tour of Malakal Akoka Road project.
في اهتمام من حكومة ولاية إنه لازم الطرق تفتح. السنة دي بدرنا إنه نعمل إشارة دي. وأنتوا هنا جايين في الشارع شايفين مواطنين شغالين بينتجوا بشغال فاهم بينتجوا سمك ومحتاجين للتأمين. عشان كده أنا السنة دي قلنا عملنا خطة عملية محكمة إنه الشارع ده يكون مأمن الفترة بتاعت الصيف ده كله. الأجهزة الأمنية السنة دي وفي غاية استعداد يتعامل مع أي وضع بيحدد الأمن بتاع المواطن.
The State Minister of Roads and Bridges, Judge, said work on the road has progressed significantly despite the challenges arising from recent flooding in the region.
التعاون بتاعنا مع يونيميس قدرنا انه يونيميس قدر انه يعمل ردميات عشان نقدر نوصل الطريق لاكوكا. قدروا يخطوا من طريقنا هنا عملوا هاي زي 15-16 كيلو والفدل من هنا لكورينارا 15 كيلو. ونحن نناشد برضه حكومة اتحادية بصفة خاصة انه وزارة الطرق والجسور انه يحاولوا يساعدونا في الموضوع بتاع الميرم عشان
Alfred Orono, UN Mission Field Officer, renewed the mission's determinations to rehabilitate the strategically important Malakal Poloj Road.
Our main prayer to the government of Upper Nile is to get us Maram. If we put Maram on this road, it will be for every year we'll just be renovating it, because now we'll raise it for about over 1 meter, some places 3 meters high from the water. And if you have Maram, the people of Upper Nile will enjoy connection. I understand the road from Bunj to Rank is now open. Our main problem is now to connect Malakal to Baloch. Once we have that, everything okay. People get food in Malakal, people will be living peacefully, people do a lot of movement and interaction among people, and again we consolidate the peace in Upper Nile.
Major General Majok Michael, as SPDF commander of the 2nd Divisions in Upper Nile, stressed the importance of roads in maintaining security, indicating the security service will reinforce security in the next stage for public safety.
أجهزة الأمنية واجبنا أن نؤمن هذا الطريق ونساعد الأمم المتحدة عشان نقوم بالواجب بتاعه. فإن احنا نطوف بتطوف الطريق ده وتأمن الطريق ده عشان الأمم المتحدة تعمل الشغل بتاعهم. احنا شاكرين كثير إنه الجهد ده جهد يعني مقدر. احنا كسلطات موجود في الولاية ده احنا شاكرين له كثير جدا يعني.
For SSBC News, Mario Suleiman.
That's it from me and the team. I am Mathiang Joseph, and thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more programs coming up, including news in classic Arabic with Nazario Marcelo. Stay tuned for more programs coming up.